What's up, everyone? I just came off a back-to-back cup weekend. If you're following Rahul's journey to Hawaii, welcome. We're coming on in. It was a very good weekend for me, actually. I got a second and a first place this weekend. So two back-to-back cups with two finishes that I think are worth keeping for myself. Now, everyone has different goals for what they want for their World Championship invite, but I would like to have 6 finishes that are at the finals level or above. I think those are the best ones to keep. Going from a second to a first is marginal, but going from a top 8 to like a second, 15 points does matter when you're doing the grand scheme of things. That being said, I'm going to talk to you guys about what I played, how I played this weekend, what I lost to, and how things went. So the first day I played John Ang's Fusion Mew list from Pittsburgh. I didn't change a single card. I felt like this list was pretty good. It was a list that my group had been working on, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to send it. I don't remember people's names that I played throughout the weekend. I truly apologize. I'm really bad with names. Actually, I'm really good with faces, but really bad with names. So yeah, it is what it is. We're going to just jump in to my rounds. This was a 6-round League Cup, about 43 people. The first round I went up against Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. My opponent opened Klefki, so I didn't really get to play the game, but I had the Alessis Sparkle, so I took a gamble and just knocked out his active with the Mew, my only Mew V. And they threw up the Zoroark, evolved to Zoroark V-Star, and I pathed also, and they slammed Research and didn't bump Stadium, and they didn't get what they needed off of that, which was really nice. So then I was able to one-shot the Zoroark V-Star, to which then they responded with a Zoroark V-Star KO, but they already discarded 3 Zoroarks, so I just got the last Zoroark V-Star KO, and I actually won the game, which was honestly a little bit scary because it is a deck that I didn't expect to see, but I beat Zoroark V-Star game round 1. Round 2, I went up against I don't remember, honestly. I think it was Tina, and I ended up just setting up an early Deoxys. No, round 2 was Miraidon. That's right. Round 2 was Miraidon, and she did not have a great start to get up and running. I went first to kind of set up my board. She got and I went Miraidon, or Deoxys and Meloetta, and she went for the rope play, and I gave her the Deoxys, and I gave her the Deoxys, and Raikou into Deoxys. And then I went in with Mew. Mew one-shot the Raikou. She powered up a Miraidon, 220'd me. I retreated the Mew that turn into a Meloetta and took the knockout with the Meloetta, and then I just was a boss away from game, and she couldn't really prevent that from happening. And then the third round, I went up against Clifton, who ended up being top 8, playing RCS Pika, Umbreon, and the matchup is super bad for me because he just went turn 1, got the tomb, got everything running, and actually I had an opportunity to potentially knock out his only Arceus if Meloetta was not prized. And then Heavy Ball was prized. So I was like, cool, I can't get the donk. That sucks. I had everything. My hand was legitimately perfect to draw cards and play everything. I had every single piece I needed, pretty much including Sealstone, in my hand to get the knockout. And I was like, except for a modifier, I think. But I was like, that's fine, I'll just get there. It really sucked. And then we had to play a long drawn out game. And then Clifton made a pretty big misplay that cost him a DPL and pretty much gave me the set. He just didn't take his prizes at a certain point in time, and we both didn't notice. And then Clifton was like, I didn't take my prizes. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. So, got bailed out there, go to 3-0. And then round 4, I played against Alparsalon, who's playing Lugia, and he just completely totally bricked. It was he got double Lugias out and then nothing else. And then I got the turn 1 knockout with Meloetta, and then it was something happened, and then he just didn't even attack, I think. He didn't get the Arcaps up, and then I was just like, well, the game's over. So, pretty much the game was over there. Best of 1 is crazy, especially in this format right now where some decks are really consistent. If you whiff once, you just lose. Now I'm 4-0, but I'm weirdly the only 4-0 because a couple ties happened down the road. So then I hit Tyler, who was playing Tina at 301, and I was thinking about conceding to Tyler to put him in a cut, but then I realized that I'm not safe. If I do that, there is a chance that I could whiff because of some bubble situations. And so I end up playing against Tyler there, and he's playing Tina, and he just literally opens Tina, Abyss Seeking passes, and I just win in 2 turns. So really unfortunate for Tyler, but then I go to 5-0, and then I hit a local playing Aiden, I believe was his name. Yeah, Aiden was playing Arczard Pidgeot, and I just conceded to Aiden because I didn't want to hit Aiden in top 8. I made sure that Aiden would be second or first seed with me, and so I conceded to Aiden. A little bit of time goes by, deck checks go through, and then top 8 is posted. I'm really just don't want to hit Clifton, I don't want to hit Aiden, and I think those are the 2 worst matchups for me to see. I think everything else felt fine. I go against Alex. Alex is playing Tina. Game 1, he pretty hard bricks. I think it was open 6 Pokemon, and I went first, so I got the turn 2 just Maxi Miracle attack into turn 2 Deoxys attack, or second turn Deoxys attack, and he was just like, I'm not going to play this. And then game 2, he had some really awkward courses where he had to put like a Mirage Gate and like a Jet or a Grass away, and then all of a sudden like those numbers started adding up of like resources, and I was like counting everything, and I'm like, you just don't have the pieces to win the game. And he was like, yeah, you're right, and I conceded. So he just conceded and dipped. Now I'm in top 4. I go up against Tyler again, rematch from earlier. And both games I draw pretty much perfectly. He's playing Tina as well. I pretty much draw perfectly, get into the Deoxys, get the Alessa's attack off with the Deoxys. Like I set it up perfectly, everything goes really well, and I just win the game. And both games pretty much go perfectly for me, not great for Tyler. So now I'm in finals up against Michael. Michael's playing Tina as well. The first game is not going in my favor. I'm actually drawing pretty poorly. We get to a position where I count all of Michael's resources, and I'm pretty sure he's out of energy or has like 1 left, so he can't actually close out the game, which I'm in my mind, I'm thinking I can just 2-shot this Tina, and then I have to boss one thing and I win the game if he's out of energy. And I count everything, 2-rod everything. This is where like my hubris gets, not hubris I guess, but like I feel like this is where like the unexpectedness of a League Cup kind of comes into play, where like Michael was playing a 3rd copy of Super Rod, which is not typical for Giratina builds, and that kind of caught me off guard and was able to steal game 1 for Michael. Not steal, I guess, he was ahead the whole time. So yeah, that was really unfortunate. And then game 2, he only gets 1 Tina down at a time, so I just go boss, and then I pretty much just can't lose from there, because Tina isn't there to take the 4 prizes that it's supposed to normally take in the matchup. And then game 3, I opened Genesect, going second, and I got Tails, attached to Genesect, played Alessa's Sparkle, played Path to the Peak, and I passed. My hand was like triple tablet and another energy, and I was like, that's so cool. Or something like double tablet, I think. And I was like, man. And then turn 2, I top decked Mew, I benched the Mew, I attached. He bumped the path, I bumped my own path because I had a city or something like that, and then I played the tablets, and then I attached the DTE, and I drew cards, and the 2 cards were like VMAX and like Ultra Ball, I guess, and then I Techno Blasted, and then the game was just over. It was just ugly. So lost finals is the first one. I feel like I could have played a little bit better for sure. Played around the rod, I mean, I was breaking games 1 and 3 a little bit, but I feel like there were angles that I could have done better. Deoxys was absolutely an MVP. I feel like 2 path was not necessary, but the metagame wasn't like Guardies and stuff like that where you need the path. I just hit a lot of Tinas where like they path me. So I guess like maybe it's a little bit of bias where like I wanted another stadium out that wasn't path, like a town store or like another lost city or something, where it just like didn't feel great. Fall Crystal was pretty negligible throughout the day. I think it was fine, but Featherball might be better. 3 Mew felt fine. Everything else felt fine. Deck felt good. Was very happy to play it. Got a finals. So yeah, next cup I am heading to Game Haven, which is in Maryland, and I'm like, okay, cool. People are going to tech for me now. I think that now that I have seconded a cup with Mew, I think people will like put their Drapions back in Tina. We'll play cards to beat me because I always just assume I'm public enemy number 1 at cups. It just kind of happens. I'm just a guy playing Pokemon though. You guys are just hating. And so I'm like, it's a Lugia weekend, and I show up. I roll up with Lugia. It's a completely different crowd from the day before. Like I'm a little bit further out. Gaming Giant's like a 25-minute drive for me, and then Game Haven's an hour in the other direction. So completely different crowd. And so I roll up with Lugia. Sorry, excuse me. The first round I played against Gwen, and she's playing Guardy, and she has a pretty slow start, so I take 2 knockouts with Crag pretty much before the game even begins. With Lugia before the game even really begins, and Gwen has to research away 2 Super Rod on turn 1, so the game is like already in a position where if she ever goes into Guardy EX or Baby Guardy and I boss the first one, and it doesn't get any value, then the game is like immediately over. And that's kind of exactly what happens, where she Candy Guardies and then whiffs an attack. Like Guardy EX, and then I just bossed the Guardy EX, killed it with Evital, and all of a sudden I'm down to 3 prizes, and there's only 1 Guardy EX that's potentially left for the entire game, so I don't even have to worry about Guardy now. I'm like the game is over, and I do win. Round 2, I go up against Brennan, and Brennan is playing Zard Glade, which I think that deck is really really good. I just don't know how to build it yet, but I think that deck has a lot of potential, and Brennan pretty much sets up perfectly. Was able to chain Rhyhorns. And once the Glade is up, it's really hard for me to play the game. And then there was like Zard after Zard after Zard. Like I got to the first 2, but 3rd Zard was like pretty much impossible to get through, and I just lost. So it is what it is. 3rd round I went up against Hal. Hal's playing Miraidon. I opt to go second because I think going second might be more correct as Lugia. And Hal slams the path, and I was like, I messed up. I played bad, and then I end up researching out a path, which was really convenient because I priced Pumpkaboo, so I got really bailed out there. And Hal like missed the knockout as well, so I just kind of was able to play the game and kind of sweep Hal. Hal's Maridon, like my Stone Journey and stuff got in the way. Round 4, I hit Squeaky, Team Fish Knuckles, and I end up offering the ID because I feel like we can both just win our last round and have a good shot to make it to top 8. So Squeaky takes it, so Josh takes it, so now we're both 2-1-1. And then we head into round 5, which is like the ultimate decider now for me. And I end up going up against a Maridon as well. I opt to go second. He has like a really rough start. It's like attached to Raikou Pass, basically. And so I basically get like a pretty good setup. I open Serena. He doesn't get the attack off the next turn, which is crazy to me. And then I just retreat, blow up the Raikou, and he has like a Mareep on bench. So the game is like more or less over in that regard. And so now I'm in top 8 once again. And here's the bracket if you guys want to see it. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So I go up against Brennan again. Probably the worst matchup I could ask for. Zard Glide is really hard to play against. And game 1, Brennan pretty much is able to double Raihan, which pretty much wins him the game. The second Raihan, I Ono him to 2 and take out the Zard. And he has no Zard in play, only one Charmander. So I have to kind of hope. I think he needed like Rod, Candy, and Zard. And I'm like, there's no way he finds all 3. And he had like 2 refinements and a Glade. Which, he could have found it. Like I was just in a bad spot anyway. There's a Mew in the active. So, like, he sees a lot of cards, and the deck is already, like, super thin. So he gets there, and he gets me game 1. Game 2, I only able to get 1 Chops out, which is really unfortunate. But he doesn't get to capitalize on a turn 2 and boss it, which is really nice. So I get to power up 2 Lugias and a Titar. And so I end up taking 5 prizes, and my board is now Lugia with 70 damage left, Lugia with 280 damage left, and he has a Zard in the active that's completely fresh and hitting. But I realize at this point that he is completely out of energies, or Ionos. Like all 4 Iono and Palpat are gone, so I'm like, yo, I just can boss and I win. Like boss a guy, like a small guy and win. And I had boss in hand. So I just like sat on the hand and I got it the way I wanted to. So I win game 2. And then game 3 is going completely in my favor, where I have like a whole board idea where I can go 5-2, take a prize somewhere, go to 5, hit the Zard, and then boss a Charmander. Or no, kill a Zard, sorry, and then boss Charmander or something. So he doesn't get the perfect numbers to start one-shotting my Lugias. But he goes double Candy Zard, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And so I hit the first Zard, and then time gets called, and I'm like, no! And so he has to just simply take 2 prizes, and the game is over. And he ends up not getting to the Palpad, because 2 bosses were in the discard, and that was basically I got lucky to be bailed out of that situation and win. But I think I should have lost that to Brandon for sure. Because he just isn't able to take 2 prizes at that point, and I was like, oh my god, thank god he didn't have the boss. But I think like if the game goes on, I like always win that because of how much damage I put on both Zards. Like both Zards had 300 damage on them with my Titar, and he had earlier bossed like a Lugia and put 210 on it. So like, I'm just chilling. And then in top 4, I played against Josh Everly. Game 1, I basically donk his only Lugia. He concedes. Game 2, he gets off to a blistering start, and I can't really keep up. So Lugia mirror. And then game 3, I missed the turn 2 Archeops, but Josh commits discarding 3 energy and an attached retreat into Pumpkaboo from a Squawkabilly, because he thinks that if Squawkabilly goes down, he like loses. But I just said you have to like hope you don't have it there. Like I don't have it. And now Josh is down 4 energy and he just can't move his Pumpkaboo, and he has to hope I knock it out. So I end up just waiting until I can find boss onto Titar, and Titar hits Titar, and the game pretty much ends on the spot. And then finals is against Patrick. Patrick was playing Urshifu. Commends to Patrick in game 1 because he had a game plan going in. It just didn't work out, obviously, because I think you just... it's in my Lugia guide how to play the matchup, but I think you just pretty much win if you're Lugia. It's like very, very easy. And so I win game 1, and then game 2, Patrick researches and like draws into nothing and pretty much concedes like near immediately. And so yeah, I win a League Cup, got first place, and I got second place. So an absolutely insane weekend run for me for cups. Here is the current spreadsheet where we're at. Here's the total points, so 250, almost about halfway to my World Championship invite to Hawaii. Pretty surreal to think about because I wasn't expecting to get even close until probably like March, but we're making good pace. Obviously, I have a couple finishes. I like this top 8 replaced. I'd like this top 8 replaced, but everything else, we are cooking. So thank you guys so much for the support. As always, please like and subscribe if you want to be a part of my journey to Hawaii, and let me know how your cups and stuff went this weekend. Thank you so much. Peace out.